Good morning or afternoon, amazing agents from across the country. Today is Thursday, February 1st, 2018, and this is Mastermind call number 162. I just want to take a minute, guys, before I pass it around to my partners. I want to thank you all for being here, but just share a little bit of company news with you. January was by far our best month, and from several perspectives, we set the all-time record for new subscribers by a long shot. We also set the company record for the fewest canceleds, which we're even more happy about. And one thing that was kind of startlingly obvious to us, if that's a word, when we looked at our numbers, over the years, I've had a lot of people ask me, like, you've been around for a few years, how come I've never heard about you? We're not a big publicly funded corporation. It's just four guys that turned out to be a good idea about 5 years ago, and we've purposely grown a bit on the slow side because we've tried to put quality ahead of quantity. And our leading source of business this last month was referrals from our existing subscribers. So I just want to take a second and tell you how much we appreciate that. Our second leading source of business was our existing subscribers adding additional counties. So, and it's funny because it's kind of gone from I've never heard of you guys to most of the people that are being referred to us are being referred by multiple people. So I don't know if there is such a thing, but it seems like we've kind of gone socially viral a little bit here, and we really, really appreciate all of you that are sending people to us. And I wanted to just share two things with you before I pass it on to my partners. If you're not aware that if you do send people to us, we do have a really good affiliate program. So obviously we don't expect you to send people in your office, create your own competition. But if you go to a convention or something and you get a chance to mention us, let us know. If you think you're going to do that on a regular basis, we'll set you up as an affiliate. And secondly, if you would like additional counties, we do offer multi-county discounts. So again, guys, I can't thank you all enough. And I'm going to pass it on to my partner, Tim. Tim, you're up next. Anything you'd like to share with the group?
Not a whole lot. I just add the simple fact that I think a big part of why we are as successful as we are is because of the fact that, and I guess I'll just share with you something that I heard last week. I was talking to a customer, and Chad and I were in New York at the Inman meeting, and we had a good conversation, and he said, I really understand, and he said, when you guys first started this, and I've known him a long time, so when he first started this, he said, I just couldn't believe that this was working as well as you guys always said it did and all that sort of stuff. And I said, we work really hard to make sure that our customers are successful and all that. He said, yeah, he said everybody says that. But he said after listening in on some of these calls, he said, you guys really are providing not only just, direct support for probate, but, you provide real support for people. You encourage them. You let them know that they can be better than they are and all that sort of stuff. And I'd never really thought about what we're doing, and I'm really kind of proud of the things that we do, and we're proud of our customer base, and we work real hard to make that happen. He said, you're not just a lead company, and that was something that when we first started this, I remember sitting around the first meeting we ever had, and one of the things that we said was we don't want to be that kind of company. We want to be a company that adds real value. And so I'm real proud of what we've done, and we're certainly grateful for all of you folks to be on here, and I'm sure a lot of new folks are here. So on we go. We're looking forward to a great year, and certainly we're off with a bang, and we've got new things coming. So I'll let it go. We got a lot of people in the queue. Chad, you're up, buddy.
What a great segue to our new branding announcement. We're changing the name of the company to All the Customers. Just kidding.
There you go.
No, I mean, thank you guys for taking the time to do that. Further to that, from a training standpoint, I've had 16 of you have replied already, but I sent out a few emails over the last couple of days with surveys and just trying to get a better feel for what more we can do for you guys. The one that was sent this morning, I don't know, maybe right before 10 o'clock I sent it out. It was really, a lot of people have been expressing an interest in like a list of objections. So in preparation for next week's role play call and other forms of training that might come as a result of this, if you could, please take a minute and go through. It's just 3 questions. So take literally 60 seconds, click on that email, and let us know what you're hearing out there and where you feel like you're coming up short and where you need help and what format of training you would like to see. That's really, one of the many hats that I wear is always trying to find better ways to get you guys the information that we've overlooked or you have an appetite for that we just haven't produced yet. So please take a look at your emails and give us some feedback on what would be most helpful to you. And we'll have, I'll either in the role play call on Wednesday or video content or somehow we'll meet your needs. But
excellent. And Chad, you mentioned it, but the role play, I think you just mentioned the role play call is next Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern. Same number, call in. And it's different than this call. And all of our role play calls are recorded, so you might want to even listen to a couple of those ahead of time. But anywhere you're getting stuck, anything you need help with, it's kind of like Jeopardy. You got to make it in the form of a role play, and Chad will be the one on the hot seat. So you don't have to be the agent. Chad will be the agent. All right, great. And then Tom, anything you would like to share with the group before we get to the questioners?
Just what I always remind everybody: we're here to help. So don't hesitate to send an email to us at support@alltheleads.com, or if you're in your account area under support, just contact us. We track all those items and get the appropriate resource to get back to you as quickly as possible. We want you to be successful. That's it.
All right. Well, excellent. Well, we got a load of people this week. Let's get to the first one. Phone number ending in 1924. You're up first.
Oh, okay. I had to think a minute about my number.
That's you.
Hi. This is Sandra Suits. I'm with Gaddis Partners and Remax Center in Atlanta, and
hey, welcome.
I am brand new. So I just was joining today just for information purposes. I don't really have a question because I haven't even started yet. I'm just in the initial stages.
Well, you did your training call this morning, so you must have at least 3 sales by now, right?
Yeah, not yet. Yeah.
All right. Welcome. We appreciate you being here. All right. Next up is 6124. Phone number ending in 6124. You're up next. Sabran Tucker, are you there? Hello. Someone on the West Coast, phone number ending in 6124. Now we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, great. Yeah, welcome, and how are you guys today?
Wonderful. Thanks for being here.
Great. Thanks for having me. I had a couple of questions. The first of which is for, the areas that are a bit of a distance from my setup, which is in Marietta, California. I'm with Diligent Properties. My wife and I have a small brokerage firm here. In terms of setting up a team in these other cities, how do you go about it? Is it better just to go through LinkedIn, or is there another methodology that would best suit my needs?
It really just depends on which partner you're trying to add and kind of what their geographic footprint is. Like estate sale companies, a lot of them even work across state lines. They're going to work not only multiple counties and cities, but a lot of them will travel to, if you look at the registries, the same company will be registered in multiple states. So you just kind of got to look at the footprint of the vendors that you're working with. And what you might find is you don't really need 3 teams to cover a 50-mile radius. Maybe everybody's willing to work within that radius.
Okay, yeah, but my concern is for the people that's a little too far for them, and some have expressed that. For estate sale companies, with regards to that, is that something that can be paid through escrow, or do they typically require upfront?
I mean, the typical model for an estate sale company is 25 to 30% of gross sales, so they take a commission off the gross. So they don't actually have to come out of pocket. The estate doesn't necessarily have to have money to pay the estate sale company. If they're good at what they do, they'll produce income, and they'll get paid from that income.
Right.
And
with
Chad,
with
several calls ago, Chad, last month I think we had the president of the National Association of Estate Sale Companies. I think she had given us a website you could go to. Do you happen to
that'd be
remember
great.
offhand what that was?
There are two big national directors. There were three, and I don't remember which two got merged, but it's estate sales, so estate sales plural. So estatesales.net.com and .org are all three. There's two of them have merged. So, but those are two really good directories. They have about 20, one has 20,000 and one has 22,000 different estate sales companies registered.
Yeah.
So chances are you'll find one in any market that you go to. Those people have enough professional, it's kind of a mixed industry, but the people on the, the companies on the directory have taken the time to put up a professional listing, and they even have like a subscription level, so kind of platinum, gold, bronze, and that's kind of like Zillow's featured agents. It's whoever's paying the directory to get basically that status. So, it's usually they'll have a blurb like if they specialize in antiques or firearms, or what markets they work. That directory is a really good place to kind of aggregate all of that.
Okay.
So you can save yourself a whole lot of time. As far as other team members, I know we've got a lot of people in the queue. So in Probate Mastery, we teach you. We go through a very comprehensive list of everybody you can use to kind of build your team. It takes a half an hour to kind of get through it, but kind of as a basic, like if you need to find cash buyers, there's videos. If you go to alltheleads.com, click on blog, and then there's a series we do called Tips from the Trainer. There's a long video there that tells you how to find cash buyers. Clean out crews. I mean, if your estate sale company can't do the clean out, just go to the top REO agent in your market and say, hey, look for a HUD agent, because typically they're going to have vetted clean out crews and property preservation pros.
Right.
So think creatively, who can bring value to the situation. Financial advisors, I prefer to work with an RIA or registered investment advisor, because they have a fiduciary responsibility to their clients.
Okay.
So look for an RIA in your market. Obviously, the probate attorneys, you want them to be on your team. Estate planning attorneys and family law attorneys are great people to have to bring value to your customers, to get referrals, to give referrals. But if you really want to kind of unpack it and get the full training on that, we covered in session 3 of Probate Mastery. But
One quick addition. I was just going to say real quick, there is a website also for investors, nationalria.com. Stands for Real Estate it stands for Real Estate Investors Association.com. A map comes up and you just click on the area, and there's very few large markets that don't have a local association. You can just call the president of the association, tell him what you're doing, and say, do you have any cash buyers? And he'll probably say me. And if he doesn't, he'll give you 10 others that'll do it also.
Right. Okay. Well, that works real well. So ask for cash buyers, huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I have a property that I got from you that's located in Blythe, which is approximately almost 3 hours away from me. And do we ever have a scenario when we can pair up with other ATL members to work a deal? Is that done or is it not done?
No, we have people in our are you part of our Facebook community, the All the Leads Mastermind?
I don't know. My wife set it up, so
be sure and join that. Get on Facebook, and we have a group called All the Leads Mastermind. There's close to 2,000 of us in there, and people share referrals in there. We don't really have a referral platform other than that. If nobody raises their hand, give us a call, and somebody from our support team should be able to connect you with an agent that works that area.
Okay, perfect. One final question. These clients or prospective clients in Blythe, they had mentioned that they have a mobile home, and I know that's personal property. So is that something that the estate sale company would handle as well, or is that more specialized for a different venue?
I think that's probably a market-specific question. here you can sell a mobile home in our weekly REI meeting. It's a drop of a hat. Like, you just show up and say, hey, I got a trailer I need rid of, and an investor will jump on it. I don't know about the estate sale companies. I mean, I would say your most likely buyer there is you talk to some. So mobile home parks are typically traded through commercial brokers. So if you know any commercial real estate agents who have been in your market for a while, they probably know who the mobile home park owners are, and that's usually the quickest place to sell a mobile home is into a park.
Okay, great. Yeah.
All right, sir. Well, we appreciate it. Bunch more in the queue. Is that good?
Thanks so much. I appreciate your time. I'll stay on to listen to the rest of the knowledge that's coming through.
Absolutely. We'll leave you on. No problem. Next up is phone number ending in 4774. You're up next.
Yes, hi. This is Marilyn J. I'm with Keller Williams in Houston, Texas. And
welcome.
Thank you. I started last August, and I haven't done much with this program. And then, being the brilliant analytical person that I am, I went out and scrubbed every list and then called back and go, what do I do now? And I talked to one of your customer support people there, and she said, call and talk to Chad and see how to get started and how to get past what you've done, basically. Does that make sense?
Well, the really good news is this list is, I won't say it's evergreen, but these leads are good for a lot longer than probably any other lead type you've ever worked. So we have a lot of folks who do similar things or don't do anything is a more common problem. But when they do finally start their campaign and kind of go backwards in time, they nearly always find business. So if you have kept the list if you've kept the other half of the list that you kind of scrubbed out, you could run a separate campaign, just send a letter and make a round of phone calls all the way back to August. And I mean, I'm very confident that you'll find business in there.
Okay. She even told me they could restore what I had deleted out. So maybe should we do that? Go that route?
If that's what you want to do, I mean, we do keep we keep the original data set, and then we give you your own version of it for reasons like this. So if you want, it would basically just put everything that you've gotten from the first time from when you initially signed up, and it'll all be right there. If you want to do that, and then just send. Let me ask you this: the ones that you did market to, did you have a consistent campaign and kind of follow the system? Have they already seen 3 letters from you and heard from you?
Heavens, no. Okay, and I do have to say, this was in August, and I had sent like 1 letter to some people, not very many, because of budget constraints. And then we had the hurricane, and so it's like, well, some of these houses I know flooded because I know the area. It's like, oh, my word. So I just kind of like stopped. And then there was the holidays. I can always whine about that because I hate the holidays, and I just have to get through those. So I've just kind of like stalled out, and now it's like I need to get going because I know this is a good market. Or, a good.
Yeah, and I've met in the last couple of shows I've been to, I've met a lot of agents from the Houston market and had pretty candid conversations with them. And frankly, most of your peers are overlooking the opportunity and the tragedy. So all those homes that didn't have insurance, that are flooded out and have mold issues, an investor will buy anything at the right price. So there's a great opportunity to take a home that most realtors don't want to deal with. Just go, listen to the family, see what their problems and challenges are, get it listed, run it out to your cash buyers. On most deals like that, you never have to even go to the house. You don't have to show it. You don't have to leave your desk. You can crank out, $2,000, $3,000 commission checks and do it from your laptop. I've sold dozens upon dozens of houses that I've never seen that way because I knew they had deferred maintenance or were in bad shape. So I would say don't shy away from those. Align yourself with the investors in town and go try to get those because you can really help the families out when other people are saying, yeah, sorry, we don't really deal in that. So there's a lot of opportunity in that flooded inventory. that where you could bring a lot of value to your cash buyers and strengthen those relationships, but also get the sellers out when they might think there's no option because they've met with agents who didn't really do that for them.
Well, the other thing
the
other thing I scrubbed out was houses and properties that are too far from me, because Houston is just a nightmare to get around in sometimes. So I scrubbed all those out. And then on the last time I spoke on a call, they said, well, refer it out. And I'm going, why didn't I think of that? In fact, some of the areas I know a realtor are so there, and I'm going, wow, I could set myself up a little network like that. So yeah, I need those back. It's like for sure. So yeah. Okay. Well, you've answered what I need. I think I just need to go start over square one, and because I haven't done that much, except one little puny letter, and it probably got tossed or washed away in the flood. And there weren't there many. So I'm thinking
just some encouragement for you. We have customers who have literally been with us for over a year that have never even done their first campaign.
Okay.
Everyone that comes and says, gosh, usually it starts with an apology. I'm sorry and I'm like, don't be sorry. Like, let's make you some money. You've made an investment. Yeah. Let's get an ROI now. But almost everybody who follows the system, even going backwards in time up to, I think the most distant one I know of recently is about 18 months. But even with our call center, we have gotten listings 18 months back on a cold list where we know there's a lot of competition in the market. So just some encouragement. I mean, there are definitely commission checks and listings and cash sales, and there's business there because everybody moves at a different pace through this. So going back to August is not really that far. I know it feels like a long ways to you, but we have people that have procrastinated twice as long, and their campaigns are still effective. So don't be hesitant to do it. I mean, I would start with at least one letter and at least one phone call to every person on that list.
That sounds great. Thank you, Chad. This is really helpful. I've jotted my notes, and I'm good. Thank you so much.
Well, thanks for stepping up, Marilyn.
Yeah, Marilyn, congratulations on your honesty and for not giving up. It's so we want you to come back and let us know your results, please. All right, next up is phone number ending in 1472. You're up next.
Hello, this is Amy. I'm in Orange County in Southern California. And just a quick question, and then I just wanted to add something. From the time I get the email from that mailbox motivator that says the leads were, that I received the leads, how long does that letter actually, from the time that I get that ballpark, I mean, I know we're dealing with the mail, but like kind of anxious to call and wondered, I still haven't gotten the letter. So I wondered how much time in between that usually takes.
So you're usually looking at, go ahead, Chad. You want to answer? Go ahead.
No, my only question is, are you on autopilot?
Yes.
Okay. I'll let you take it, Tim.
Yeah, if you receive notification that your mailing has gone out, then you just need to watch the mail. But generally speaking, considering where you are, where we are, and all that, it's about a 3-day timeline, and that's what we usually talk about. And we usually recommend that you start calling about 3 days, maybe 4 at the longest, from when you receive the notification that the mail went. Postal Service generally says first-class mail, which is the way they go out, anywhere in the United States, no more than 3 days, and in most cases it's 2. We say 3 and switch to 4, and so it's kind of like somewhere between 2 and 4. But you start calling it 3, you're not going to hurt yourself. And if you're anxious and it's been 3 days, get on with it. That's a good time.
Yeah, it said January 30th, and I still haven't gotten them. So you think it's safe to call today?
Well, you mean it said they were mailed on January 30th?
Yeah.
Well, maybe. I'd give it one more day. If that's the case,
Okay.
give it one more day.
Okay.
Okay?
And the only other thing I wanted to add was, on a positive note, I called one and spoke to this personal representative, and he had a question, which I didn't know the answer, so I said, let me check with a probate attorney that I know, and I went and I got the answer, and I called him back. and we hadn't gotten into a big conversation the first time. So I called him back and I gave him the answer to his question, and then we talked, and it turned out the deceased person did not own any property, so there was nothing involved on that end. But as we chatted some more, it turned out that he actually himself owns a property for like 1.6 that he's going to be a for sale by owner in a few months. He didn't really want a realtor, but he seemed kind of open to meeting. So I think just the fact that I, went and got his answer and helped him with his issue had him kind of open up to me and feel comfortable to tell me that. So
hashtag provide value first.
Right. But it just
good
shows
job.
like,
and Marilyn, listen up. What she just said is the reason we don't scrub lists. And I'm trying not to get on my soapbox because I ranted about it last week on a video to you guys. But we have just like dozens upon dozens of stories just like that one, where people provide value in any way they can, and they uncover massive amounts of business. So for anybody who's on the call that's thinking, oh man, I scrubbed my list, or I'm gonna, because I don't care what they say, you will scrub out opportunities if you try to guess too much, if you try to deduce too much from a simple spreadsheet we give you. The best thing you can do is just jump on the phones and find ways to help people. I mean, that's what we do in real estate, right? It's a service career. So thank you for sharing. And I'm sure you'll get the $1.6 million listing.
And remember, anytime somebody says, it doesn't happen often, but when they say there's no real estate, in the probate, remember, if you're talking to the executor, you're talking to somebody who, on average, just inherited a couple $100,000. They may be chances are it'll be a $1.6 million listing, and he'll take the equity from his home and the proceeds from the estate, and probably use you as a buyer's agent on a $2 million house. So you'll probably get multiple transaction sides out of that one simple good deed you did, and knowing the probate attorney allowed you to do that.
Well, this guy said there actually was no equity. He was like a friend of the deceased, and there wasn't equity or anything like that, but he just happened to own this other house. But I think not being attached to any of it and just giving valuable information made him comfortable. I did want to ask you, though, we shouldn't call them if they're listed, right? I mean, if we see that the property is on the market for sale.
Yeah, I mean, what I always did in the footer of my letter, and like in a light gray, so it wasn't hugely prominent, but I would always put an asterisk, and by the way, ethics are very important to us. If your home's currently listed, please disregard this.
Right.
And if you happen to call somebody that their home is listed and you hadn't looked, you're not going to get in trouble. I mean, you're calling people off of public record, not off of not off an MLS prospecting list. So you can just quickly say, well, good luck with your agent. Let me know if you have any questions on anything that's not real estate related. We do have a team of people that can help almost everything in everything you're going through, including setting up a plan so the next generation of your family doesn't have to go through this. And I mean, I would still, if I found myself on the phone, I'm not going to go. I never did check mine against MLS. I just mailed everybody and had the conversations I could. But yeah, I wouldn't, if you know for a fact it's listed, that's questionable ethics. But if you find yourself on the phone, just say, I'll help with anything but the real estate. I'm sure you have a great agent.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Amy. Anything else?
That's it.
All right. Appreciate you participating. Up next is phone number ending in 7971. You're up.
Yes. Hello?
That's you.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi. This is Stephanie Hasselrig. Can you hear me?
Hi. We can hear you fine, Stephanie.
Okay. I'm in South Carolina. I'm new to all the leads. I just signed up, I guess, a few weeks ago. And I don't really have any major questions. I have been on the Facebook group, and I read a lot of people's response there. I'm relatively new to real estate. I've been selling real estate less than a year, and I am part-time at it. and I sent out my first mailer last week, and I actually did it all myself. I just did the mail merge and actually hand addressed all of the envelopes, which is extremely time consuming. But, you know, again, being that I'm new to this, I didn't have the budget for that. And I did get my website set up because I felt like that was important too. And I got my first call today, and it's probably going to be a value call, a value-added call, because I don't think there's going to be anything to list right away. They want to renovate the property that was in the estate. And so her question to me was, you know, can you help me find some contractors to fix up this house? She has some siblings that have to co-sign doing this, you know, fixing up the house to rent it versus just getting rid of it. So I did set her up with some contractors, and we're going out tomorrow to evaluate the house and, you know, try to get the house repaired for renovation. So that's my experience in this short period of time.
So do they have any experience being landlords, or do they have a property management plan?
No, they don't.
Okay. That would be my first conversation with them, because a lot of families, a lot of people think, you know, being a landlord looks good from the outside. A lot of people get in over their head really quick, especially when you're renovating a home and you've never managed. So I would ask them, you know, it's all about good questions. So, okay, well, tell me about your property management plans. And if you feel like they're in dangerous territory, like if you feel like they're not prepared, you might encourage them to go ahead and look at what they could sell it for. And that's what we teach through everything, is provide options. So you could do the analysis and say, here's what it would look like, you know, cost-wise to do the renovation, and here's what kind of a return you could expect. And then also run a scenario where they sell it as is, where is, the way it sits right now, and then run a scenario where they bring the contractors in, upgrade it, you know, renovate it to a little higher level of fit and finish, and actually flip it. And they'll make their choice, but you're going to impress them by giving them options. And if they put it on the market and rent it and they get a bad tenant, you know, then something you said in the beginning is really important. You have a good mindset. They may not list it right now, but you still plan to service them, and that's the right thing to do. But what I find is a lot of people haven't really thought through their decisions like early on, and they don't know what they don't know. So I would encourage you to do the research as a rental, as an as-is sale, and as a retail sale, you know, renovate and flip. And just take that the next time you meet with them and say, guys, listen, I thought about our conversation, and I just wanted to make sure you guys have all the information that I can give you. Let's take a look at each of these three scenarios and make sure, you know, everybody's comfortable and you're making the right decision. And if they do want to rent, then find a property manager that you trust and introduce them. Even if they don't use the property manager, you've done what you can to help their situation.
Okay.
Excellent. And
Great.
Stephanie, I was going to share with you, and I think we talked about this when you and I first spoke, that I think you were concerned because you are a brand new agent and you felt like it might be a little bit tough to compete with the more experienced agents in your market. The great thing about this niche, a significant percentage of your customers are not local. They don't see the bus benches and the for sale signs, and they really don't know you from anybody else. All they know is that you're offering options and services that these other agents, if they are talking to anyone else, hasn't even mentioned. So it's a great space to compete with. And I was going to also share with you the last caller in our queue today is Belinda Reese. She is by far our most successful long-term part-time agent. She works another full-time job, and she is doing great. So congratulations on your ambition, and thank you for participating. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much. I have one more thing I wanted to. Can I have one more minute?
Well, absolutely. Go ahead.
We still didn't answer your question.
Oh, go ahead. Answer the question. Sorry.
So before we got off on that tangent, you asked how to find good your question was about finding contractors. So that can be tricky. I mean, if you have agents in your office or your broker, someone who has experience with renovating homes, that's a really good place to start. If you're having trouble finding a contractor, one of the tricks that I tell people, if you're brand new to town or you've never dealt with a contractor, typically the contractors who show up at really early in the morning at Home Depot or Lowe's under the portico, that side of the store, the guy driving the $80,000 truck that's showing up at 7 a.m. for materials probably has it together, and he probably has license and insurance and a crew, and he's running his business like a business. And it's good to align yourself with contractors at that level, because in some scenarios there won't be any money in the estate, but you can still get renovations done because they have the cash reserves to carry an invoice through closing. So you can, go to Dunkin' Donuts and get a box of coffee and a box of a dozen donuts, and sit under the portico and talk to the people in the morning that come up. If you're not comfortable doing that, you can talk to other agents in your office. If you have cash buyers, especially those that flip, or actually, and in this scenario, if you have cash buyers who are landlords, like if you go to your local REI meeting, those landlords are pretty much all going to have contractors they're using to do that type of work. And typically, like for me, like here, I would not use kind of the rental property contractor if I were going to do the other scenario that I mentioned of like a full-blown renovation for a retail sale. I would have different levels of contractors, and that's probably what you'll find. So you might want to talk to both. You might want to talk to a landlord in your local REI and talk to a fix and flip investor, and you can get a couple of different contractors that you can refer.
Awesome. Well, and also I'm finally, as I said, I just sent this list out, so I was shocked to get a call this quickly. I was planning on starting to make my calls tomorrow, but someone called me just off receiving the first letter, so that was very encouraging. But I have to admit, a lot of anxiety about making my first call, so I'm looking forward to the role-playing calls next week.
Why do you have anxiety?
I don't know. I just because from reading on the Facebook page, people talked about how we made our first call. Someone blessed me out or hung up on my husband today, or basically called us ambulance chasers. So I've got a little anxiety, but I've been kind of going through the scripts that I found and just trying to get prepared for it.
So for anybody listening, the reason I led you into that trap, because we hear this. We have people never start, and we have people quit because of this. And I'll pull a thought from Stoicism, and I stole this from Tim Ferriss. But if you guys Google Tim Ferriss fear-setting exercise, you basically flip a sheet of paper so it's kind of landscape. Write your biggest fear, or in this instance, I'm afraid of, this person screaming at me, and then make 3 columns. And but I won't go through the whole thing, but watch that video on Tim Ferriss fear setting. And kind of the point is, what's the worst thing that can happen? And if you remember when you watched the first Fast Track video, like if I could give you guys anything, it would be confidence in your offer, because that's where I've seen all the money made in this niche. People who are proud to reach out and they know they're doing the right things for the right reason, they're unshakable, and they help tons and tons of people, and they make a lot of money for that value. So get yourself there. That's an exercise that might help you, is the fear setting exercise. It's worked for 3,000 years. It's from Marcus Aurelius. So check out that video and see if that helps kind of calm your anxiety. Like, what's the worst thing that can come from this, and what's the best thing that can come from this?
Great. Thank you so much.
And that is great advice. And I will also tell you that less than 5% of the time are you going to get that type of response. I never got that response the 4 months I worked this niche. I don't know that Chad ever got it. So, and then we've had agents that got cursed out on their first call, and Chad talked them down off the ledge, and 2 years later they've never had it happen again. So for the most part, if you're coming from a good place for the right reason, people are going to perceive that, and it's not going to happen. And I mean, let's face it, there isn't a lead source out there where people aren't going to get, FSBOs say, hey, you're the 100th person that called today, and expired say, where were you when my home was listed? And, you're going to get that reaction very, very occasionally from people that misperceive your intentions, but it's the exception to the rule. You may never have it happen. So be prepared if it does, but don't let that stop you, please.
Great. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. We got 3 more in the queue. Next up is phone number ending in 6818. You're up next.
Yes, hi. This is Grant Griffiths from the suburbs of Chicago. How are you guys?
Hey, great, Grant. Thanks for participating.
Good, good. Hey, so quick question. I got a call yesterday from an attorney. Their client brought them my letter, and they were confused because the client who brought the letter was not the personal representative. And so, I said, exactly, we pull documents in the courthouse, and, whoever's on there, that's who we send it to. So long story short, after he said that, they're not the executor, he said something about how a land trust, and how then he saw, okay, yes, this person, in fact, was the personal representative. So I was hoping you guys could shed a little bit of light on that, why the attorney did not know right away that this personal representative was, in fact, that person. And then also, I'd like to also follow up with this attorney because I mentioned, how we're kind of like the hub for probate, and I mentioned estate sales, and he said, that would really take a lot of stress off of his end. So I want to go in there, kind of know what I'm doing. I just started this month, but as far as like the initial documents, I don't know if it differs by county for listing property in probate. I just kind of want to have a intelligent conversation with this attorney, and if he asks, I'm going to have to tell him that I'm pretty new to probate, not new to real estate, but to the probate process. But I just want to be prepared, so I don't know if I'm overanalyzing or whatnot, but if you guys could shed some light on that.
Sure. So you're in the home state of the land trust. This is a really good opportunity for you to educate yourself. Like Illinois is where that was born. Probably where the confusion comes in is the anonymity of a land trust. So you can start 123 Walnut Street Land Trust, and that goes on public record that way, and no names are disclosed. Like nobody really knows who the trustee of that land trust is. So there's a lot of really creative uses for that in real estate. There's also a million different scenarios that this could be. So it's hard to say without more information. It's hard to say what actually happened. The good news is the attorney did his research and kind of drew it back to the person you sent the letter to. So your government's doing a good job. Like they found them even though it was in a land trust.
I don't know about that, but as far as the land trust goes, yeah.
Well, they're at least doing this good. When you meet with the attorney, like they're not going to expect a real estate agent to be, a probate professional. And I always tell people, just relax. You're never going to know as much about probate as they are, and just go into the appointment knowing that. But they're never going to know as much about, real estate brokerage as you are. They're never going to be as good at brokerage as you are at selling homes in the least amount of time for the most amount of money. They need that service in their business for their clients, and you need somebody that can answer questions like this for you. So it's a win-win relationship. So when you go in, don't be embarrassed or even, don't worry about your knowledge level. Worry about your service level, because that's what's really important in that relationship. So when you sit down with them, the biggest thing you want them to understand is, one, you're committed to this and you will build your knowledge. That's why you're there. But you're also building a full service. So it's not just about the real estate. You're not just putting signs in yards and waving around your iPad listing presentation. You're helping families address the overall problems in the estate and connecting them to your team members. And what that in turn does is makes the attorney's life a lot easier. It takes a lot of redundant conversations out of his day. It gives the family, the family relies a lot more on you for service than they do the attorney's office, you and your partners. And they always see value in that. And the best way to do that, like you're planning, is face to face. So absolutely go do that. And I would, have a list of questions about some of the things you just brought up. I mean, there's not a whole lot different that you have to do there's really nothing different that you need to do with your listing paperwork. But a good way to lead into that is, listen, I have a couple of questions. I just want to make sure that I'm being as efficient and professional about this as I can be, and actually helping you, not being in your way. So is there any specific language that you would like to see in my listing agreements to make this easier for your office? And you're probably the only real estate agent that's ever asking that question. Like, how can I make your business more pleasant or more efficient? And so that's kind of how I would jump into that conversation. But absolutely go out there and meet with them and report back. Let us know how it went.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. We got 4 more in the queue. Phone number ending in 1189. Belinda, you're up.
Hey, how you doing?
Excellent.
Quickly, so I am the part-time agent. First, the question I had to ask was concerning, is there any reason or any incentive for a family to go through a short sale that really belongs to the person who passed? Because, I mean, you're not making any money in it, and it can be quite a process. And it's not like the person, the heirs credit's going to be messed up. It's like, the property.
Is it part of a probate, Belinda?
Yeah. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And as most of you know, my wife has closed over 2,000 short sales. She's been doing them for 12 years. She has done them. But to answer your question, most of the time it was because the family was just trying to do the right thing. And there really isn't any work involved for the family. It's not like a traditional short sale where they have to submit financials. The financials are irrelevant because the person doesn't have a bank account anymore since they died. I mean, it sounds facetious, but it's serious. All you need to submit is just proof that they're the executor, and have them sign, one set of paperwork, a few pages, and give it to you, and they're done. So there isn't a big financial incentive for them, honestly, unless there's other significant, and Chad, you might want to comment on this, but I suppose if there was other significant assets in the estate and the property was upside down, very, very, very unlikely, but I suppose the lender could try to go after some of that. I think the probate will be long since closed before that would ever happen. So theoretically, there might be an incentive. Realistically, other than just trying to do the right thing and, not let Grandpa's house go to foreclosure, there probably isn't a big incentive. Or possibly if it's if you can bond well enough, that they're doing it to avoid foreclosure and to help you get a listing. I mean, Chad, do you have anything you could add to that? Could you think of any other incentive for them people to do a short sale?
Well, there's a lot of variables to that. So what other assets are in the estate, and how long are they willing to leave this probate open? Like, is there any incentive to get it finished? Are the neighbors close friends? If it goes into short sale, is that going to negatively affect the neighborhood? And then selfishly, can I sell this to one of my investors and get a good deal and make the family feel like they've done the right thing? I mean, only you guys can answer that question, really. But I mean, there's if you get it listed and you manage the short sale for them, and I would recommend using a facilitator since you're working you're in real estate part time. That's
I have a professional negotiator. Okay, this was actually a continuation of the.
If you get that listed, you take it to.
Yeah, my negotiator, and they would manage the whole thing from that point forward. But it was really a continuation of the question I had last week, where we had the family that was kind of trying to save it, but the daughter doesn't have the income to save it. So I was going to contact her again February 1st, which is the day, as a follow-up. And just, I just wanted to kind of touch base with you all to see if there was anything I was kind of overlooking concerning that. But it seems like, yeah, I mean, there's no money going to be made, but as long as it's not labor-intensive for them, then they may want to go ahead and do that because it was a mother's home rather than let it sit there until it goes through foreclosure and gets run down and that kind of thing. So.
Okay, so I remember your scenario from last week. Here, let's bring this full circle. So they have a strong emotional attachment to the real estate, and they want to live there, but they don't have the credit for the background for everybody else. What you can do in this situation is list the house as a short sale, get it to your facilitator, facilitate the short sale, go find an investor go find an investor who's interested in buying the house and owner financing or selling on a lease with option to purchase back to the personal representative, and you get the listing commission and you get the selling commission, and you get this, and your client gets they get to reach their goal, and your investor not only gets the equity that he's going to negotiate in the short sale, he also gets the interest or the option fee in the financing part of the deal. So you can create value all the way around for all three parties by doing the short sale versus letting it go. So that's the value I see in them not giving up, because you can still get them what they want, the house, and you can still get it at a price, at a fair price, not at the not where the debt level is, but it's going to require you finding the right investor and him making the right offer, and then him being willing to do some sort of creative financing back to them. And it sounds complicated. It's really not. I mean, if you have a good real estate attorney, they can easily paper all of this and look over your shoulder, and your broker probably can too. And if you need help, call me directly. But that would be the incentive that I see for you to go ahead with for them to go ahead with the short sale.
Okay, and then typically a bank wouldn't push back at all on that sort of thing, I would think, because, I mean, the person that owned it is deceased, and at least they get something out of the deal, I would think.
The only thing they're probably going to push back on is paying you both sides of the commission. They'll usually just knock it down to 3%.
Yeah, I can get a stand-in for that. I'm not.
we would never suggest that, but it's a great idea.
I know.
Okay.
Okay, but then just a couple quick comments too, regarding when people say they're going to rent the property out. Well, I always just call back in a couple of months, and just ask them, at the time I talked to you, you thought that you were going to, you mentioned you were going to rent it, how's that working, that kind of thing. And quite often you'll find people are ready to kind of let it go or go ahead and sell it. So I always follow up on those people to tell me they're going to rent it. And then in terms of people saying I already have an agent and, we already got it listed, of course I run right to the MLS and see if it is listed. If it is, I just watch it. Because quite often it may not get sold, and then I follow up, and they've heard from me before, so, it gives me a little bit more of a chance of getting that listing once it expires, if it doesn't sell.
That's excellent.
It's not a thing of just giving it up because they said that, And then I think we all have call anxiety, but once you make that first one or two calls and get into the grind of making the calls, you just got to push through. It's just no, fancy smancy thing to say about that. It's something you have to work through, period, and just get on the phone and call. But I think we all have that, whether it's probates, whether it's expired listings, any of that. But I think probates are unique in that in the back of your head you may be thinking, well, somebody passed here and I don't want to disturb them and this, that, and the other. But you just got to push through there and make it at least the first couple of calls. And once you get the ball rolling, you'll see it's not that difficult once you get into it, But at any rate, though. Okay. All right. Thanks for your help. And then, Ted, I wanted to email you. If you can email me just the bullet points of what you said, I think I kind of get the gist of it. But just so I can think about it a little bit more.
Well, I've already forgotten what I said.
It's owner finance, it's lease back, and then you have an option fee there. So
yeah, so we'll I can send you an email, and then we'll post the recording of this call. I want to go back to something you said, and those are all very excellent points for everybody else to hear, and thanks for sharing. One of the ideas that I heard shared at Inman last week, and I'm borrowing this from another agent, that they actually do a campaign where any home that gets rented, they actually put them on the calendar for 9 months later. And at the 9-month mark, they start mailing them letters and making phone calls. because usually, they're typically going to have a 12-month lease, and it takes, according to NAR studies, it takes, as much as, anyways. But they started marketing to landlords at 9 months from the listing of the rental listing. That way they were always front of mind when the lease came up. And that's when landlords are, obviously, it's when they're most likely to sell, is when they finally gotten rid of that problem tenant, and it's just like, all right, never again, we're getting rid of this thing. So it's really good advice to take that a step further. Anytime you guys talk to somebody, that is, they are renting the home or plan to, make sure you set a follow-up call out there like 9, 10, 11 months out and check back with them, because chances are they've learned a lot in that time frame.
Yeah, especially if they were expired and then you find out they rent it, because more than likely they rent it because they expired. They don't really want, they get a taste of that and they're ready to cut it loose. You're right, in 12 months, as soon as they can get out that lease. Yeah.
Great points. Thank you, as always, Belinda. One of these days, I'm going to hear that you're no longer our most productive part-time agent because you're going to quit that job, and the results you're getting, I don't think that's too far down the road. Is that your goal to do this full time?
No. Well,
no?
when in retirement, yes, but
okay,
now
all right.
I use to build up resources. So, but that's one of the reasons I can stay in the business as long, because I do have other income coming in. I learned the business.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, as always. Some great thoughts. Guys, we are going to go into a second hour here. It won't last the whole hour, but we're going to run a little bit over today. We have 3 more people in the queue. Next one up is the phone number ending in 8380. You're up next.
Hi, this is Derek. I was trying to see, is there a way to download any of those like Mastermind calls that are archived, or like these weekly calls? I'm trying to mow through a lot of the old ones, and I don't always have time to do it when I'm on my computer. So I don't know if there's like a way to like put them into like an MP3 file or something like that we can like utilize to listen to the calls in our car or something like that. Or I don't know, just one.
Are you a subscriber, Derek?
I am.
So if you go into subscriber portal and in the top menu, click on conference calls, access call archive. That's one way, and it'll play on mobile. Like it'll play over your phone. The other way to do it, if you want to actually download the files, I also archive everything in our Facebook group. So if you go to All the Leads Mastermind and then jump into the search tab on the left and put in the word Mastermind, and each call will pop up with I basically transcribe each one, and below that will be a link to a Dropbox. And if you go into Dropbox, you can download the actual MP3 file if you want to keep them on your phone.
I'm sorry, I'm on the All the Leads Mastermind now. You said it's where again? One more time.
The quickest way to aggregate them all together is go to search this group and type in the word Mastermind, and that'll bring them all to the top. And then individually, just click into it where you see where I've summarized each call. At the very bottom, there'll be a Dropbox link. You click on that, and then once you get in the Dropbox, you can download the file. And then if you move it over to, like, if you're on an iPhone, it'll just drop it into iTunes.
Got it. Okay. All right. Cool. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate the participation. Next up is phone number ending in. For some reason, she didn't come up. Hang on a minute. I don't know if I deactivated you or not. Phone number ending in 1472. Can you hear me? Hey, Tim, I'm hitting the next question button and nothing's happened. Can you try it?
Can you hear me?
Oh, no, you're there. You're there. There you are. Go ahead. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So 6097. That's mine. It's Caroline Allison from.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Go ahead.
So, I actually am having people make calls on my behalf. I hired out and I'm kind of testing that service. And I did find that there were some issues that came up where it seems like it's really getting more of the attention of the attorneys. I don't know why why they thought it made sense to call the attorneys. I mean, they kind of took the initiative to do that. But they did piss off one of the attorney's offices that I'm trying to establish a referral relationship with. And then on another attorney that called me back yesterday, I don't know him, but he had said, well, just reaching out to you to provide some feedback about your office. It sounds like, this TJ Green is making cold calls on your behalf. And I just have to say that when I spoke with him, he didn't know anything about you or your office address or anything else. And it was, I had to, as the attorney, I had to call my client because TJ said that he probably would call my client. And I had to give him the heads up and just let him know to expect a call from TJ Green. And that, it just wasn't flattering of me. And I feel like I'm trying to build a reputation in this niche. And I guess my question is like, I know you guys have had success with the outbound call program, but what is being given to these people? And
good money. The difference in your experience and what all of our customers experience is about $9 more per hour. So we kissed a lot of frogs finding the right people to put on the phones. And I've experienced the same thing in testing. You have ISAs that are making $4 an hour offshore, and they have no clue what they're doing. And it just reflects badly on everybody. So our ISAs are trained. They're sitting on this call right now. They've consumed hours upon hours upon hours of our content before they get on the phones. And that comes through. It shows. So at $2.50 per lead, we try to get it as low as we possibly can, so it's affordable for you guys. But this is a highly trained person that's calling for a very specific reason. And I'm letting the cat out of the bag a little bit early, but we have proofed it out where we can actually intentionally make the attorney calls, and we are successful at setting the attorney appointments. So, and I have to eat crow on that one because so far I haven't met an agent yet that has been effective at calling attorneys, but our ISAs have been over the last 2 weeks. So I would just say that, look at what you're spending, and if you can afford the $250 per lead, we're certainly worth it with the caliber of callers that we're using.
Yeah, but on a basic level, they really should know a little bit about me.
Well, that's part of what we do, Caroline. So the second that you sign up, you'll get a personal phone call from the head from our ISA center saying, "Tell me about your business. Tell me what you would like to have said on the phone." And you have a personalized greeting. And it can be, and some people are like, "I don't care, just make my calls." But others are like, "No, I want them to know I want a sales award, or I'm the top selling agent, or this or that." So that's part of the service that we do for everybody. Is the second you sign up, we try to get to know your business, so we sound informed and intelligent on the phone.
Right. Okay. Well, I definitely like to, make sure that things like that don't slip through the cracks. As far as, this attorney kept insisting that this guy had no clue what my address was. And he was very fixated on that. And he said on a very basic level, these people making calls on your behalf really should know basic information about you.
Yeah.
So an opinionated attorney, imagine that. You don't run into many of those, right?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. But to be clear, this person is someone you hired?
No. They're part of the outbound call effort set up through all the leads.
Yeah, I thought that's what you were saying, Chad.
That's right.
She's saying that it's one of our people. So if that's the case, then Chad, you want to handle it? It's the first time we've heard a comment like that, so
yeah,
we'll certainly address it.
Too. I misunderstood. So if you're using our service, I completely misunderstood that. So you're going to get a personal phone call today and we're going to fix this right now.
Yeah, I would hope so, because I mean, if I were to, hire them again, I mean, I need to have a little more confidence that I'm not going to get calls like that. The calls I want to get are calls that lead to appointments.
Yeah, and I will say that we made real sure when we partnered with these guys that they could scale up, and it very well may be a new person that they just hired, but we will get it taken care of, Carolyn. Someone will call you today. We'll get that fixed, and we appreciate the feedback. I thought that's what you were saying, but yeah, you should not be getting. Yeah, you should never get a call like that. If that's accurate, nobody should ever receive a call on your behalf without having a pretty good background on you. And we'll figure out why that happened, and we'll have somebody reach out to you today.
Well, he says new dialer, so information is in different places. He knows about me and my business. The hesitation came when he had to look up my office address while he was on the phone. But, he's really supposed to be an extension of me as if I'm calling. And, it's leveraging my time, as you know. And so
sure,
if something slipped through the cracks, I mean, I'm test piloting this, and I really want to know that it works before I keep going with it.
Understood completely. And I'm not trying to cut you off. We have a couple more people in the queue, and we're running really long. But as soon as we get off this call, someone will call you back, and we will deal with it. We'll figure out what's going on, and we'll fix it. Okay.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks.
All right. Thanks for the feedback. All right, second to last up, phone number ending in 7518. You're up next.
Yeah, hey there, this is Dan Grimm. I work at the Realty Executives in Waukesha, Wisconsin, and I am just looking into probate leads. I've been working with for sale by owners and expireds for a while now, and I guess I'm just kind of newer to the whole probate process. But I was just going to ask if these leads are going to be getting fed into the Vulcan 7 platform. That's where I originally had heard about alltheleads.com.
Yes, they should be. All you have to do, and did we know when we set you up that you were a Vulcan subscriber? Were you already a subscriber, or did you add that later?
I'm not currently signed up with all the leads. I just talked with
somebody.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Yesterday.
Okay, I got you. To answer your question, yes, we have a affiliate relationship with Vulcan. So if you sign up with Vulcan and then you get our leads, we have an API with them. Your leads will be fed directly into your Vulcan auto dialer. So when you sign on to Vulcan, you'll see them and you'll have a new lead category there.
Okay. And then how does that system work where it's more automated? And if I choose to do like an automated system for mailing out letters, is there a way that, like, if I wanted to add my business cards or something like that, is that even possible to do?
Anything that you want to send out, we'll send out and send it out for you, and we have a fully automated system that does that, and we work with you individually to make sure that what goes out is what you're looking to do. We give you a lot of guidelines, and we have great letters that we've already done that you get the benefit of as a subscriber. But we have people who not only mail letters, they mail trifolds and postcards, and we do any kind of printing and mailing that our customers want. We're a full-service print shop. So anything that you want to send out, we can do. The other thing I'll also add is that we now do every door direct mail from the Postal Service, so we can kind of handle all your needs for any of your printing, whether it's just that or just for probate or your general farming mailings or anything else you want to go do. So anything you need, we'll do for you.
Awesome. So I would be able to send business cards to you, or how does that work? If you
already have them printed, yes. If you already have business cards that you want to use, that's fine. If you'd like some ones printed for you that specifically reference the probate aspects of your business and you want to put them in there, we can do that as well. So any of those will work.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. Great long call today, guys. Thank you so much for your patience. We have one more person in the queue, so Last up is phone number ending in 1472.
Hi.
Amy, you're up last.
Hi. I just very quickly just want to say how wonderful it is that this brand new agent is willing to get on the phone and do this. And I just think she's going to be really successful. And any of these other realtors, I've sold real estate for 1 million years, and a lot of the success is just getting past the mindset of, that fear, which I think can easily be overcome in a couple different ways. First of all, writing down and figuring out what you want to say, and then as you just keep doing it over and over and over again, it just gets easier and easier and easier. And just knowing some of the objections, which I don't know them yet with the, I'm used to expired, so it's a learning process, but I think the confidence equals knowledge. So if you feel like you know what to say and you know how to respond, that alone is going to make you feel comfortable. And the only other thing I wanted to say is from I've sold real estate for 30 years, I can tell you most people are really nice. So we're so afraid. It's really rare that somebody is nasty. It doesn't happen that much. And even if they are, I just say, have a great day, bye. But if you have something to give to them, that's a value, and that's why I love what you guys keep saying about, we're here to help, not just list your house, we're here to give you added value. And if they don't want it or they don't see it, that's fine. Have a great day, and just don't be attached to the outcome. Just keep saying next. If I just keep calling, I'm going to find somebody who really wants and needs my help. And if you have that mindset and you just keep writing down, what you want to say and what the objections are, and just force yourself to keep doing it over and over and over again, it just gets easier. And again, I'm used to doing expired listings, so this is a new thing, but I just think it's great that these new agents are willing to just jump on the phone and do it. And if they just realize most people are not nasty, most people are open to talking. So I just wanted to add that.
Very, 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 very well said. I want to applaud, but I don't want to make too much noise on the call. I could not agree with you more, Amy. Thank you so much. Very wise words of wisdom from a veteran, guys. I hope everybody takes your words to heart. And that would have been a great way to end the call, but we do have one more person, so we are going to cut it off, guys. We're at 1 hour and 15 minutes, by far our longest call, but our last up today is going to be phone number ending in 8682. You're up, 8682. Can you hear me? All right, 8682, going once, going twice. All right, well, you'll be first up next week. Don't wait there for a week, but please call back same time next week. Chad, you can still hear me, correct?
Yeah, I can hear.
Okay, good. I want to make sure I wasn't muted out. All right, guys, well, thank you so much. Record call in length. Oh, go ahead. You're there. 8682, are you there now?
Yes. Can you hear me? I'm sorry about that. This is Terry from Maryland.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Sorry,
Go ahead.
it's like driving wise. It's all good. So I got a unique question, and I'll make it real quick because I know you're trying to get off the phone. But I had a person call me that they got my flyer that I mailed to. And as we were talking, he's like, well, ma'am, my mom had no estate. She has no money, no property. Well, when I was looking at the address, and I said, well, I have here that you do have, there's property. I said, does she live in, this state? And he said, no, she lived in Maryland. I said, well, I'm showing here that she lived in a different state. So with that being said, I did some research for him, and the name is the same, and which is, by the way, very unique name, other than the initials are different. My question is, if this is the estate, what does he have to do? Like, there's no attorney or anything involved in this. And if it's not, how do I go back to him and say, well, I made a mix-up, and if that is a mix-up, how is the person that's, looking up our information, where is she getting it from? Did I say too much?
No, that's okay.
So he didn't file the probate?
No, he said he didn't do anything. He said all of a sudden I sent him a letter and that he was personal representative, and I'm looking it up, and I said, well, you're the personal representative. He goes, yeah, but no one knew that. How would anyone know that? And I said, well, again, I have someone that checked into it. So I'm not sure. He's kind of like at lost, and we're trying to figure out about this property in another state.
So he did know the deceased, and that matched on the data that you had, right?
Correct.
Well, it sounds like he was probably appointed as the personal representative, and maybe he didn't know that. Was it news to him that he was the personal rep, or was it just news that you knew that?
News that I knew that, and
okay.
Where did I get that information from?
Okay, so he just may not have understood that it's public record.
Right. But
so,
now, what about that property?
The address,
okay.
the address that you're referencing, are you talking about the deceased last known address, or is it a different address?
Yes. The
so
last known address.
That doesn't mean they owned that. That's where they received mail. That was their last, when they passed away, that was their last known address. So if he says they didn't own anything, they probably didn't. That was just where, it could be a nursing home, family member's home, friend's home. It could be anything.
Well, when I did
don't
check,
automatically. Go ahead. No, don't assume that the last known address is the property owned. It can be, but it's often not.
So, but when I did my research, I actually had a title company do some research for me, and the name that it's referencing to is the person that it was his mom, but it's the same name, which, by the way, is a very unique name, but the middle initial is different.
So
what are you saying is different?
That the title.
Yes.
Yeah.
He doesn't know if it's his mom's. He said he never knew that his mom had property out there. So again,
right, but you went and looked up a tax record and you matched the deceased first and last name.
Correct.
With the tax
but
record,
not
but the middle initial was different.
Correct.
Chances are, if it's, how unique is the name? Like you said, it was unique. I mean, is it?
Well, Ruby Harley.
Okay. I mean, there's a chance. I mean, it would be.
I guess there is.
There's a chance that he didn't know she owned that.
Okay.
And that someone could have made a mistake, keying in the middle initial, or maybe there's another Ruby. I mean, if that was her last known address and you matched the name to the record, I find it hard to believe that it wasn't her. How did he not know about it if she lived there?
No, she didn't live there. She lived here in Maryland in a nursing home. But again, he was away for a long time. He said he didn't think that she lived out there. So again, that's what I'm thinking. But again, what do I need to do, or what does he need to do to find out if that was his mom's place?
Well, you could call. I mean, you can. How far away is it from your office?
Well, no, it's from Maryland to South Carolina.
Oh, quite a ways. Well, I mean, you can pay somebody to do a preliminary title search.
Okay.
It's going to cost him $400.
Okay.
But it sounds awfully coincident. I mean, it would be one hell of a coincidence if.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
If that was her last known address, she was getting mail there, and like it sounds to me like somebody probably entered the wrong initial on county record in South Carolina, but she did own that house. It sure sounds that way.
Okay. Well, then you answered my question, guys. I thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, guys, everybody that hung on here this long. I'm going to wrap up quickly. By far our longest call. As always, thank you so much for being here. Thank you to everyone who participated. Always like to end these calls the same way. You took the time to be here. You heard some great inspirational stories. You heard some great advice from seasoned veterans. Take one idea, one thought, one piece of advice that you heard today, put it into practice, and come back and share it with the group next week. Thank you so much, guys. Make it a great week. We'll talk to you at the same time next Thursday. Take care.